Yo people, welcome back to another video. Now this time I want to talk about Rhea Ripley, easily one of the most overprotected and overpushed wrestlers in this era of WWE. And if people dare to criticize her, you get the stupid goons, you get Triple H's fanboys crying online, they're calling you sexist, they're calling you every name under the sun to try and invalidate your opinion just for pointing out facts or for saying that she's being forced or just for having a different opinion. Triple H himself loves Rhea Ripley and we can tell by the bookings. I think they've made that very clear for all of us to see. And in this video, I'm going to explain why people, including myself, have a problem with Rhea Ripley's current character and booking. Not with her in-ring abilities or with Demi Bennett, with Rhea Ripley. This is Triple H's fault for allowing her to do whatever she wants, whenever she wants, allowing her to stay in her comfort zone and not freshening things up. I'm actually going to be using the big dog Roman Reigns gimmick as an example as to why people are starting to wake up. They are getting tired of Rhea Ripley, and rightly so. Now, remember Roman Reigns from about 2016 to 2018, he was being booed all over the country, in America, wherever he goes, non-stop booing all the time. People were annoyed because he was too forced on the audience. We had Seth Rollins, we had Dean Ambrose, that they did their own thing, got their new gimmicks, got their new theme songs and everything. They made brand new characters after the Shield split. But Roman Reigns, he didn't change. He kept the same attire, he kept the same theme song as the Shield, and people were tired of just getting the same thing every week, and we was forced into this whole era of forcing Roman Reigns because of people like Vince McMahon and no one challenging him. On top of him being forced onto everyone, Roman Reigns himself was struggling to cut promos because he was being forced to say these stupid catchphrases, these stupid lines that he didn't want to say, and ordered directly by Vince McMahon to do it, as Vince McMahon wanted to turn Roman Reigns into the next John Cena instead of the first ever Roman Reigns. And he wanted Roman to be the next face of WWE as a babyface in a non-organic way. Personally, I think that during that era, people forced the hate thing. I never minded Roman Reigns. I actually think he got overhated. I think they did it because it was the cool thing to do, because Daniel Bryan, he lost that one Royal Rumble, and also Daniel Bryan didn't win every match, especially after all the hype he had after Wrestlemania 30. It never really led to anything else. They even had Roman Reigns beat Daniel Bryan, I think it was at like a Fastlane pay-per-view, to secure Roman Reigns' spot at Wrestlemania, which gaslit fans at the time, probably pissed fans off even more at the time. At that point, it was a case of Vince McMahon and the creators making Roman Reigns look even worse, and people were taking out their frustrations on Roman Reigns. Now let's compare that to Rhea Ripley. Roman Reigns during that big dog era was showing up week in and week out, wrestling most weeks, really grinding and doing his thing in ring. Even with all the negatives I mentioned, he was still showing up weekly at least, and on top of that, he was doing most of the house shows as well, so he was easily racking up about 200 plus matches a year. Now let's compare that to Rhea Ripley, who has had 35 one-on-one matches since 2022, and we are also in this era where they don't do many house shows, if any, anymore, so wrestlers in general miss out from gaining experience. They miss out on getting to keep learning very important details like working a live crowd, working under the pressure of a live crowd, and in general just staying match sharp, match fit. Rhea Ripley herself came out saying about how when she was the world heavyweight champion, she often felt rusty in ring because of the lack of matches, and she also felt a huge amount of pressure to perform without that experience, without that momentum, and also being asked to pull off big 5-star matches. Ultimately, this is all down to the lazy booking by Triple H, where he has champions that don't even have to fight weekly anymore. With her barely wrestling as well, what makes this Rhea Ripley booking even more annoying is that she barely loses when she does wrestle, with that stat coming out over the weekend about her only losing 3 singles matches out of the 35 that she's had since 2022. I've even seen people defend that type of booking, the overpowered Hulk Hogan booking, by saying, oh, but that's how you book top stars, and that's absolute garbage. She has literally lost less matches than Cody Rhodes, who's meant to be the top guy of this whole company. Bianca Belair, who was being booed at WrestleMania 41 and the whole build-up because people think she gets pushed too much. Roman Reigns, who's a part-timer. John Cena, who was even less of a part-timer before this year. And Charlotte Flair, who people also claim is the most overpushed female wrestler. All these wrestlers have more losses than Rhea Ripley. Even big dog Roman Reigns, who was getting booed out of the building every week, wasn't booked this strong, with him having to go through a few Mania main event L's, as well as 2 cash-ins where he got pinned. Rhea Ripley's not even faced those levels of adversity. On top of her barely wrestling, barely losing, she also gets to have title opportunities and rematches for the titles whenever she wants, as we saw before WrestleMania. She lost her belt and got forced into a feud with 2 other people who earned their spots, and let's not forget, the crowd randomly started booing Bianca Belair when she was the one that earned her spot at WrestleMania 41 by winning the Elimination Chamber. We literally saw it again on Monday Night Raw this week. Triple H and the booking thought they could fool us by having Io Sky be the one to challenge Rhea Ripley instead of Rhea Ripley challenging Io Sky. They even had the champion, Io Sky, talk about how great Rhea Ripley is. She's the best. She wants to face the best. All of this stuff. If Big Dog Roman Reigns would have ever dared to force himself into a WrestleMania championship match by stealing the contract and signing it himself when he's not even in the match and he's not even involved, I promise you, fans would have tried to assassinate the guy. Even during Rhea Ripley's feud with Liv Morgan, she got multiple rematches in an era when WWE had made it very clear that rematches were no longer a guarantee, and they backed that up by not giving Roman Reigns a rematch for the title when he was the 4-year champion. Even Jey Uso didn't get one for the Intercontinental title after he lost to Braun Breaker, and funnily enough, Liv Morgan against Rhea Ripley didn't get a rematch. Once Liv Morgan lost that title to Rhea Ripley, she never got a rematch ever again, despite Rhea Ripley getting multiple chances against Liv to get her title. Another similarity or another aspect that Big Dog Roman had that Rhea Ripley has is that she's literally got the same gimmick from when she was in the Judgment Day. Exactly how I said, Roman Reigns, he was in the Shield, and when he left, he didn't change nothing. Now, I'm not expecting her to erase her tattoos, change her hair color, but if you're gonna stay the same aesthetically, then we're gonna need more from you on the mic, entertainment wise. We need more charisma from her. We need her doing crazy stuff or being funny or something. And I get that she's meant to be this one woman machine, but that doesn't mean be a robotic, boring person. All her promos as well, they're boring. She basically just says that she's coming back for the title that she never lost, that she's coming back for the title. Even on Raw, she said in her promo, I'm coming back for that, and pointed to the championship. All her promos involve her having to get the title back, but said different ways, said different times. And that's another thing about her gimmick, by the way. She still uses this whole mammy thing. She says, oh, Mammy's on top and all of that stuff, which should have ended by now. She's not Latina, she doesn't speak Spanish, and she's no longer with Dominic Mysterio, who in the story is the person that gave her that name. If she's done with the group and done with Dominic, why is she still using that name? That's like using a nickname that was given to you by an ex-partner. It doesn't make sense and it's weird. Now, I'm not saying that you have to boo her, you have to abuse her, none of that. I'm not saying that you should act how people acted towards Big Dog Roman Reigns. I'm just saying, look at the similarities that they share, and one was basically WWE's most wanted in terms of getting him out of the company at one point with the amount of booing that he got, and the other one gets treated like she's the second coming of Jesus Christ. She literally never gets booed, and my overall point is, keep the energy the same. She gets cheered by all those fans that they can't think for themselves. Fair enough, it's part of the PR, that's what the company has to do. They have to convince you that she's the top person. If you don't want to use your brain and start analyzing stuff, fair enough, that's your lifestyle, that's your choice. But I don't know why people get so defensive about Rhea Ripley when facts are stated and people have different opinions. They think that she's attractive, they fantasize about her, they probably watch her matches with one hand down their trousers, and they probably have their notifications turned on for her whenever she posts on Instagram, whether it's a stories or a post. That's the unhealthy obsession that these type of people seem to have. You cannot say anything against Rhea Ripley. But yeah, overall, there's no doubting Rhea Ripley in the ring. She's one of the best in the women's roster right now. She's still got a lot of potential that she hasn't even unlocked yet. And I hope that we get to see it be unlocked if the booking improves and gets better. If not, then she's not going to reach it. Simple as. I'd personally like her to chase after the Intercontinental title if she was to go for a title, because she would give a lot more relevance and prestige to that belt. I personally don't care for this whole Becky Lyra thing that they're trying to do. I think if they were to give Rhea the Intercontinental title, that would freshen things up, add a lot more prestige, guarantee a lot more matches for the mid-card talents to have good matches and face someone like Rhea Ripley, while allowing other fresh wrestlers to go for the main event scene while Rhea Ripley is not there. I'd even say that in about a year or so, turn Rhea Ripley heel. It just feels more natural. I think her best work is when she's a heel. It allows her to also have a lot more charisma, a lot more freedom to do whatever she wants. Regardless of what happens, she's still gonna have the fans, she's still gonna get cheered. But my whole point is, there's nothing wrong with calling out the booking, calling out Triple H, and getting something fresh, asking for new things from her character, because it seems like WWE doesn't know what to do with her if she's not chasing gold. But yeah, what do you make of Rhea Ripley? Are you tired of this current Rhea Ripley? Do you like the character? What would you do with her character going forwards? Would you change stuff? Would you leave stuff? Are there any matches you'd want to see in particular? Let me know all of that down below in the comments, as well as what content you want to see going forwards. I'd appreciate if you could also leave a like on the video, sub to the channel, and thank you for your time.